Open worlds and semi-open worlds are more common than ever, as gaming continues its march towards affording the highest amount of freedom to players that it can. And though the sheer saturation of games in this group means we do frequently get a few stinkers, quite often we also get large, expansive, unforgettable experiences. 2023 delivered a number of games that put players in large, explorable worlds to varying degrees, and here we're going to talk about the ones that stood out to us the most. The Crew Motorfest. The change in scenery in the Crew Motorfest from mainland United States to the island of Oahu was easily one of its biggest strengths. The open world clearly takes a lot of cues from the Forza Horizon series, and honestly, it's better for it. With plenty of environmental variety, gorgeous locales, and a festive vibe throughout the map, the Crew Motorfest's open world is a fun one to simply exist in. Sons of the Forest. We're pivoting here and going from a festive location to an oppressively dire one, but Sons of the Forest absolutely deserves its flowers. Even in early access forms, it's one of the most memorable experiences of the year. Struggling to survive in its hostile and horrific world, which is so densely laden with atmosphere, remains an enthralling experience, no matter how much time you put into the game. Like a Dragon Ishin. The Yakuza franchise, now known as Like a Dragon, has always excelled at crafting small but dense semi-open world maps, and Like a Dragon Ishin benefits from those strengths as well. In addition to boasting a smattering of engaging side content, something the franchise has always been known for, Ishin also boasts the unique strengths of its wonderfully atmospheric period setting, which brings it to life expertly. Lords of the Fallen. Lords of the Fallen's semi-open world approach is very much focused on tighter and linearly designed interconnected areas in the fashion of the Souls genre, and it boasts a lot of the strengths that those games do as well. Slowly unlocking the world and consistently making it slightly less hostile to navigate always remains a rewarding experience, made all the more compelling by the game's dual realm system. Dead Island 2. Dambuster Studios' decision to develop Dead Island 2 as a semi-open world experience with a lot of open and explorable maps, rather than as a fully fledged open world title, proved to be quite a smart one. The zombie slasher basher is able to exhibit an impressive level of variety in locations throughout its runtime, and each of them not only does a great job of capturing the vibe and personality of an LA setting, but is also rendered in a visually spectacular manner. Everspace 2. Everspace 2 took a big swing with its switch to an open world format, and it's safe to say that at this point, the risk paid off. Exploring the vast expanses of space is always an alluring prospect in a gaming experience, and that's basically what the entirety of Everspace 2 is built around. Thanks to a strong environmental design and flying and combat mechanics that never lose their sharpness, exploring the game's map always remains enjoyable. Lies of P. There was a lot to love about Lies of P, as is evidenced by the widespread acclaim it has enjoyed, and its atmospheric gothic horror Belle Epoque setting had a big role to play in that. It brings the city of Krat to life in excellent fashion, and exploring its ominous and dilapidated remains is a consistently engaging experience, not least because of the incredible design and art style the game exhibits across its entire world. Wild Hearts. Map design and traversal are probably among Wild Hearts' biggest strengths. Each of its unique open-world maps are not only sufficiently large, they're also gorgeous, vibrant, and brimming with a ton of environmental detail and diversity. On top of that, exploration and traversal is always a blast, thanks in large part to Karakuri devices and the emphasis placed on on-the-fly crafting. Horizon Forbidden West: Burning Shores. The Horizon franchise has always excelled at putting players in incredibly well-realized post-apocalyptic renditions of real-world locations, and that's very much the case in Forbidden West's expansion, Burning Shores, as well. It looks gorgeous, as is expected of the franchise, and the imaginative and visually striking way in which it portrays its version of a half-destroyed, half-sunken volcanic Los Angeles is hard not to be impressed by. Cyberpunk 2077 – Phantom Liberty. Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty, in conjunction with Update 2.0, uplifts so much of the game in so many ways. For starters, Dogtown manages to boast an impressive level of density and variety in spite of its smaller size. Beyond that, the underlying systems also see significant improvements, which breathes new life into Dogtown. Season – A Letter to the Future. Given how dense and eventful 2023 has been for gaming, Season – A Letter to the Future has slipped under the radar for many. But those who've played it will gladly tell you how good it was. Exploration in the game is deliberately slow-paced and encourages you to take in its gorgeously rendered environments, memorializing them in anticipation of an upcoming catastrophe. With its stunning visuals to the melancholic vibe, Season leaves a lasting impression. Hogwarts Legacy. An open-world Hogwarts game has been something many people have dreamed of for years, but Hogwarts Legacy proves equal to those lofty expectations. Iconic, memorable locations from in and around Hogwarts are brought to life with incredible authenticity and detail, and the game does an excellent job of thoroughly immersing you in its world. Meanwhile, exploring the vast areas around the castle itself, whether you're flying through the air or remaining grounded, also never loses its charm. Alan Wake 2. Remedy Entertainment has always been associated with tight, linear design, and while Alan Wake 2 obviously still does exhibit those strengths, it blends them with a more open-ended structure. Across Saga and Alan's stories, there are 4 large semi-open world hubs to explore, each bringing with it its own unique and incredibly crafted areas, with plenty of optional content and hidden rewards tucked away. That structure fits particularly well with the game's more deliberate pacing as a survival horror experience. Pikmin 4. Pikmin has always placed a great deal of emphasis on exploration, but never has that been truer than in Pikmin 4. With the almost complete removal of time limits, the game allows players to explore all of its maps at their own pace, and boy is it a rewarding experience. With secret collectibles, hidden dungeons, optional battles, shortcuts to unlock, and more, each of its large and intricately designed maps remains a constant joy to explore, not least because of how the game contextualizes the scale and size of each of these locations. Marvel's Spider-Man 2. You'd think that having a third successive game set in the same open-world New York map would be a bit boring, but Marvel's Spider-Man 2 circumvents any potential issues in a number of key ways. For starters, the map is a significantly larger one, thanks to the addition of Queens and Brooklyn, while it also feels much more lived in, dense and dynamic. More crucially though, making your way through the map is also more enjoyable than it's ever been, thanks to a combination of significant improvements made to the already excellent traversal mechanics. Starfield. Bethesda Game Studios has always had an incredible knack for crafting immersive open worlds, and though Starfield's open world structure is quite different from the studio's past games, here at Gaming Bolt, we found it to be just as magical, and just as easy to get lost in. From the typically strong and captivating lore to the vast, endless amounts of content on offer, from the variety it exhibits across its 4 main locations to the absolute freedom the game affords to players, from being able to plant your flag on desolate planets and build massive outposts there, to creating your own ship and flying it through space. Starfield's open world had a grip on us in a way very few open worlds have managed in recent memory. Diablo 4. Diablo 4 joins the ever-growing list of games making the switch to an open-world format, and it did so in mostly successful fashion. Diablo 4 features a large, desolate, gorgeously designed map, which it crams full of addictive, repeatable content. Final Fantasy XVI. Final Fantasy XVI's decision to not have an open-world setting may have proved controversial, but the game still places plenty of focus on exploration. Travelling throughout it, Clive and his companions explore a variety of different locations, from forests and cities to wastelands, and though the level of freedom they offer can vary, overall the game rewards exploration just enough to ensure that it remains an important part of the experience. Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Star Wars Jedi Survivor obviously excels at being a Metroidvania game, built as it does on the solid foundations of its predecessor, but on top of that, it also expands significantly in other areas of the game. It offers players to discover all manner of optional content, secrets, and more. The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom features incredible gameplay design and traversal mechanics. It adds in a staggering amount of new real estate in the form of the Unsettling Depths, which is an entirely new, mind-bogglingly massive underground map that you can spend dozens upon dozens of hours in. Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3 might not have a traditional, seamless open-world structure, but you'll struggle to find mini-games that place as little limits on players as this RPG does. There's no shortage of large, open, freely explorable locations throughout the game, and each of them is brimming with engaging, incredibly designed mechanics that emphasize player agency and choice and consequence mechanics above all else. What's even more impressive is just how organic exploration is in Baldur's Gate 3. How seamlessly and easily all the content available in the game seems to flow into each other, and how, no matter what you're doing, you always feel like you're headed in the right direction and making progress. And that brings us to the end of the video. A quick request before we conclude though. We upload new videos every single day, and if you like what we're doing, please consider subscribing. It really helps us out. Also, don't forget to enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon so that you can receive daily video updates. Thanks for watching.